friends, this is the Miss Wolfie from our Half Acre Homestead, and I'm making meatloaf again. I'm making a big meatloaf. I'm making a beef barley meatloaf. And I'm making it in my brand new Frigidaire. 1 cup, 1 full cup of pearl barley and 1 liter of mushroom broth. Okay, here's the basis of our meatloaf. I have a great big long pan, bread pan. I have 2 pounds of ground beef, 3 eggs, 3 questionable onions, which is, if you got 2 good onions, 2 good onions will do. And I soaked a cup of barley in a liter of hot mushroom broth. That's going to add to the flavor. And I have steak spices. Now you will notice there's no bread because we're replacing that with barley. And there's no liquid because we soaked the barley, right? So we're not going to add any liquid but the eggs. So first things first, I'm going to take this meatloaf, this beautiful hay-fed ground beef. Look at the perfection of that. And I am going to drop it right in there. Now the whole point of this is to make the meat stretch, but with something other than bread. And barley, this amount of barley is probably about 35 cents. You know what? A little bit of steak spice doesn't hurt the flavor at all. Not a lot, just, you know, as much as you'd put on, say, a half a steak or one side of a steak. And we don't mind if the pieces are big because Daddy likes to see onion. No, Gracie, you're not getting any of this. So we're not putting any ketchup in, or bread, or barbecue sauce, or anything of the like. We're just adding eggs and onions and soaked barley. I think next time I will probably use less fluid or more barley. Because it was really wet, I had to drain a little bit of juice off. But, you know, I mean, live and learn. I've never done this before, right? And I'm sure it will taste a sight of a lot better than the time I tried to make meatloaf. Do you remember when I made meatloaf with bran, dear? Oh, God. The dog wouldn't eat it. And then we'll get busy. Oh, and I got to turn my oven on. Drop that onion in there. This is it. Bit more pepper. A little bit of salt. And, of course, a little bit of garlic. All these things will help the seasoning to bring out the beef flavor. Oh, it's still frozen a little bit in the center. I'm starting to think I should have done another egg or put it in a bigger bowl. But let's get this meat and this barley really well blended together. I should have, I guess, put it in the KitchenAid. But here's hoping. Now we're just gonna, I've got my pan lined with parchment. I may not be able to get it all into one pan. Mix it in a little better. This is going into a 350-degree oven for an hour. Okay, the timer has gone off repeatedly. And it's a much quieter timer. Would you look at that? Now we've got beets. We got beets and green beans, and I'm going to let this rest for a second while I whip up the instant mashed potatoes. All right. Now I'm going to, obviously this is going to be more than one meal. This is probably going to be a meal, Howie's lunch tomorrow, and tonight's supper. So we're going to get 4 meals out of this anyway. And I will show you another day. But let's make sure that this experiment with the barley worked. Oh, look. And I'm telling you guys, it smells amazing. Yeah, it seems to be a little more crumbly, but when it cools down, it will be easier to slice. Oh. Howie, can you smell what the mama's cooking? Oh, yeah, green beans and beets. Well, green and yellow beans and beets. I know it changes color, but I mean, it's a lovely flavor combination. It really is. Oh my goodness. Look at that, a little bit of butter there, a little bit of butter there, a little bit of pepper. And let's go see what Papa thinks about this. But know that the rest of this is going into 3 more meals. Dear, you look all snugged up on the couch there.
Yes.
You comfy?
I'm comfy.
Now this is what you've been smelling.
Looks wonderful.
It's beef barley meatloaf.
You get. Awesome.
Really?
No
Good.
gravy though?
Hey, you wait for the next meal of this awesome meatloaf and you will have your gravy.
All right.
This is the Mrs. Wolfie from our half-acre homestead saying, when that cools down, I'm going to put 2 portions of it in the freezer, and the rest I'm going to slice for Howie's lunch tomorrow, and my supper. You know what? 2 pounds of hamburger. 1, 2, 3, 4 meals. That works. Take care, God bless. Okay, this is enough to slice for lunches for Howie's lunch tomorrow. And these beautiful meatloaves are going to be wrapped up and popped into the freezer for another day. And you can bet that you will see these in another video. Okay, so you saw meal number 1. Here's meal number 3, 4, and meal number 2. So there's 4 meals. 4 meals, 1 meatloaf. Pretty good, eh? You will see one of these in another meal, in a crock pot meal later this week.